love green grass. Today I'm going to hang out here with Yuri. We met him yesterday, and when I came back, he was waiting for me. I was actually going to go back the other lane over there, over along there, and just go back on the road instead of coming through here. I wanted an easier spot to walk so I could focus on the editing of the posts, and he was waving at me, so that was another interesting step. How relationships build is very interesting, isn't it? Remember yesterday I commented how I know this guy for a couple of years, maybe 3 years, I forget. I've seen him here, just the hello, greetings. I've filmed 1 or 2 of his fish, and then he called me yesterday, and when I came over, first of all I was nicely surprised that was what he was doing, and then he had a bag out here in the water. I didn't realize it was a bag, but I saw him going over there and walking into the water and dragging out this bag, and it seemed to be heavy and difficult. And then what's here? And then he pulled out a very heavy bag, and he had fish in it. So I didn't know if he had many fish or whatever, but there was one fish. It was a carp. Then he weighed it, and it was really fighting with him because it was still alive. That's why he kept it in the water, so it would stay alive. And then he weighed the fish, and it was really wiggling. He had a hard job with his hands. I have a little video of that. I just did it after the other post I had done. And then he weighed the fish, and then I asked him what he was going to do with the fish, and he let it back in the water. And he had just kept it for me to have the joy of seeing it and to take a shot of it, a little film of it. And so I was impressed. So he said he was going to be here today, so I felt that was an invitation to come back. So I'm going to wait here, and today's his last day. He has spent 3 nights here. That means 3 days fishing, or maybe almost 4. And he got about 15 carp altogether, or 15 fish altogether. I'm not sure if they were all carp, but it was a mighty big fish yesterday morning. So we'll see if we have any luck today to see a fish. Who knows if he'd get one. We just had a little couple of exchanges this morning. He was out here and he was using one of the fish lines like a sling. He had tied something to the top of it that was hanging about a yard and a half from the fish, and he'd put in like little meatball shaped packs of maybe grain, corn, and he would fling them out about 150 yards out into the water there. So he was throwing out food to draw more fish to the area for a chance of fishing. He thinks yesterday was a better day for the fishing, but let's see if we'll have any surprise today. I'll just stay moving here, not only for the variety, but also to keep the blood circulating a little bit. It's not too cold. It's only 11 degrees Celsius, so that's nothing. I mean, you're all laughing at me, those who live in Minnesota and Michigan and Alaska and Central Europe. This is actually probably for you will be very pleasant temperatures. So let's go to our readings today. Oh, Yuri just took off. He's gone walking over there, so I don't think he has much hope of getting fish. I was going to go up on the mountain today. I was up early, and I was ready. I put on my boots to go up on the mountain. But then I remembered about Yuri, so I figured I must stay here until we'll see what happens with Yuri and his fish. So the 2 readings today have a lot in common, even though they're incredibly different discourses, and it's really a major topic. I love the first reading. It's been always a point of contemplation in my prayer, in my heart. This scene from the letter to the Hebrews, that's putting ourselves in the presence of the incarnation in the first step in heaven, so to say, and being accomplished on earth. And it's taking the Psalms, lines from the Psalm 40 and from 50, and it's in the context of critique of false worship, true worship in the sense that it's happening at the temple, but worship that's hollow because it's not true worship, it's ritual performance without heart. We need ritual. We have ritual always. We have birthday rituals, and there's a cake, and there's a song, Happy Birthday to You, and we have presents and that. And then we have the New Year's ritual with the fireworks and the meal and all that. We have our Christmas ritual, our Easter. Those are all part of human life. We need rituals, wedding rituals, even just prior celebrations, and then you have baby showers, and so there are certain things that get done in certain ways, and so also the worship of God happens in that type of way. There are patterns of behavior, patterns of doing, patterns of words, and they're constant because you don't reinvent the wheel every day, and they fulfill that purpose of making it simple, making it easy and straightforward. But the problem with ritual then is that it could become just that, just in the negative sense, a ritual, just going through the motions. And the purpose of worship and encounter with God is actually for life, first of all, recognizing who God is with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength, and loving Him with all our heart and all our soul and all our strength, and opening our heart for Him, and opening our heart for the others who are in His image. That was not a good idea. Come on, sir. Come on, get back here. Behave yourself. I went down too low and I missed the angle and it flipped over. Very peaceful here this morning. Everything is peaceful about the motion of it and the sound, but it's also gentle. But then, the Psalms and the prophets, of course, have been very critical of the form of empty worship where people bring their sacrifices and do all the ritual, but their hearts are far from me. God is on our lips, but not in our hearts. And that would be poor prayer. And rituals of sacrifice in the temple were meant to be an expression of great love for God. But then if one is actually not loving and respecting neighbor, this is a total contradiction. Hey, look at our friends coming. Can you see them? Our 2 Egyptian geese and the 3 little ones heading for the shore. I think they want to be on camera, that's why they came over to us. Pity they didn't come down here and we get them in the sunlight. I wonder if they prefer the water or they prefer being out of the water. Or they want both. I think let's see if they'll come this way, how far they'll come toward us. Yeah, they're getting closer to us. Let's go back to them. Let's see if they'll really just go by. So I won't stir too much so that they don't get shocked. Yeah, they're coming up towards us here. Isn't that lovely? That sounds like he has a catch over there somewhere. Yuri is running to his rods. Yeah, there's something hanging on his rod. Let's go over and check that out. I don't want to disturb the ducks, the geese. Yeah, show off. Quack, 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 quack. Do you guys know me now? Quack, 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 quack. So let's go over here and see what Yuri is reeling in. He's reeling. Yeah, I think he still has something here. Jeszcze, huh? Ah. So he didn't get him. That's part of life, isn't it? And you don't pull in every one that sounds like a catch. Well, let's get over and get to the ducks here while we're waiting for another fish. Bogor Tov. So then the first the reading from Hebrews is being very it's analyzing the worship that was done then through Jesus' offering on Calvary as doing the will of God. Sacrifice and offerings you did not want, but here I come to do your will. The true worship in spirit and in truth. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you prepared for me. In burnt offerings and sin offerings you took no delight. Then I said, as is written of me in the scroll, behold, I come to do your will, O God. A body you prepared for me. So this is a contemplation of the incarnation and then the attitude, behold, I come to do your will. Your will, O Lord, is my delight. What is your greatest relationship? What is the most important relationship in your life? And that's the question that comes up in the gospel then. You know, your mother and siblings are waiting for you. They want to see you. And that very, very, strange answer of Jesus. Who is my mother and who are my siblings? And the answer is the one who does the will of my Father. And there we have again the will of God, coming to do his will. So the deepest relationship we have is the relationship with God's will, through God's will with God. You know, we've been brought into existence through him. Without him, nothing exists. And so our deepest relationship is precisely in that doing God's will, knowing and doing God's will. That could be a big prayer for our lives, the main prayer of our lives, to do God's will. To do your will, O Lord, is my delight. Your law is within my heart. This is deeply, profoundly scriptural, and the core of belief, the core of faith, the core of friendship with God. And it's also the core of all of our relationships with others. What makes great friendships? When friends are united in doing God's will. People pull together to do God's will. When people pull together to defend human beings from hurt, from danger, from violence, from exploitation, there's no deeper bond than doing God's will. And sometimes, obviously, in our very enlightened attitudes, our very liberated attitudes, we want to be totally self-deciding and self-governing. And sure enough, the Lord has put a lot of freedom in our life, in our constitution, but to do God's will, that is my delight. And there my freedom reaches its maximum purpose when I choose to do God's will, and I choose to do it out of love. There we got all 5 of them lined up here with the sun. Oops. I knew it was risky. There we go. So people, that's a lot for today. And notice how the psalm echoes that sentiment then of the first reading. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Have a wonderful day. Doing God's will is my delight.